My wife and I decided to visit the Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park, that she had never been there before, and for me it was more than 20 years since I was last there. To save time and frustration, we flew from Johannesburg to Upington International Airport and then collected a rental car. This saved a lot of drive-ins from Johannesburg. Our first stop in Upington was at the Kalahari Mall to get some groceries, and then we set upon our way to the Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park. It's quite a long straight road, and I think they do speed trials along this road. The first night we spent at Kalahari Trails, which is also a meerkat rehabilitation sanctuary. Very pleasant but basic accommodation, about 35 kilometers from Twee Rivieren, which is the park entrance. The drinking water that they provided, not that great, so remember to take plenty of fresh water yourself. Early the next morning we were up, last goodbye to the meerkats, and we checked in at the entrance to Twee Rivieren. We stopped briefly for an enjoyable breakfast at the restaurant in Twee Rivieren and then carried on our way to Mata. It's a fairly long drive to Mata, but well worth it, and we looked for animals along the way. Agterlonie is an old building which is now an interesting museum. So lots of history there and well worth a stop. Remember to look in all the big trees close to the road, because you often see interesting animals and birds in these trees. Mata is right on the border of Namibia, and one can continue through the border post into Namibia, but I think the ruling is you have to spend at least 2 nights in the park, coming or going. If you want to, you can take a stroll through the border post to the little farm shop down the road, but remember to take your passport with you. It has quite a quaint little shop there where you can buy sort of home industry type edibles. We had a riverfront chalet in Mata, which was really nice and pleasant and very comfortable. There's a little shop in Mata as well, so you can buy the basics, but stuff like fresh fruit and vegetables probably better to bring from Upington if you can. I prefer fresh milk in my tea, so I took along a bottle of fresh milk with me in a cool box. All accommodation in the camps do have fridges, so you can store your perishables in the fridge. Mata is very peaceful, very tranquil. The 3 nights that we spent in Mata, it was quite windy and quite cold, so the game viewing was fairly quiet. We didn't see any big cats around, although some other people did see some lions further down the road. Early in the morning, it was around -6 when we left the camp. We had just come from the Kruger National Park, and as my wife had never been to the Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park, she was saying it's very open and very bare and not as many animals like the Kruger National Park. I said, yes, lovely, because no elephants to scare you as you go around a corner, and no monkeys and baboons to raid your lodge as soon as you turn your back. I mean, the Kruger Park, sometimes even while you're sitting there, the baboons will racing and steal food out of your bungalow. We also booked a sunset drive, which is well worth it. You get a glimpse of what it's like in the dunes between the two main riverbed roads, and after the good rains they've recently had, there was lots of grass and very, very pretty and tranquil. Not so much game viewing in amongst the dunes. We were quite fortunate. We were the only couple on the game viewing vehicle with one other lady, so we could ask the driver to stop, when we wanted to take some photos. On the way back, as it was turning dark, we saw some interesting nocturnal animals like Cape fox, bat-eared fox, and then the owls, white-faced owl, Verou's eagle owl, spotted eagle owl, and barn owl. I would recommend you can, if you can, do at least one night drive in each camp. This pair of blackback jackals seem to have been through the wars. One was limping quite badly and the other one was missing a tail.
Pangalan ng hierdie voeltjies.
Ja, nou het ons net muise.
Kyk, ek so gedink van nou is dit vir my snaaks dat hulle so by die neste sit.
Ja, nou bly.
It was also good to see we passed the road scrapers which were leveling off the corrugations almost daily. There were lots of complaints in the past about the corrugations in the roads. Do remember to let down your tires when you enter the park at Twee Rivieren to about 1.5 bar, depending on what vehicle you have. From Mata, we drove to Nossob across the Upper Dune Road. It's a pretty hard-packed road, although we didn't see many animals apart from some gemsbuck around the waterholes, but it was middle of the day, so it was quite warm then. Nossob is probably my favorite camp of the three main camps. There are also other tented camps and bush camps and that. And we spent 3 nights here at Nossob Camp. Very comfortable and pleasant accommodation. There's also a little shop in Nossob which you can get the essentials and meat and cold drinks and some water. There's also a good hide there which you can watch the waterhole in the evenings. Also early morning if you don't go out for a game drive. My wife did that one morning and saw some lions coming through, which I'd actually passed further out on our way out in the morning. Kalahari black-maned lions are very impressive, and I must say my personal opinion is they are far more impressive than the Kruger Park lions. They just seem so wild and majestic, whereas the Kruger Park lions seem to be a little bit rough and shaggy, you know, the poorer cousins. One of my favorite birds are lanner falcons, and just north of Nossob is Upington waterhole, where sort of in the morning you can see hundreds of doves and sandgrass coming in the water, and the lanner falcons are constantly trying to catch them. So there's lots of action there for an hour or two in the mornings, and also in the afternoons again. Polenswa is another waterhole that's also very, seems to be very active with the lanners and jackals as well. In this video you can see where a lanner knocked down a sandgrass, and the sandgrass then got up and sped off again with 5 lanners in hot pursuit. Fortunately for the sandgrass, it managed to outpace all lanners and get away. I think in a stoop and surprise the lanner is a lot faster, but level flight the sandgrass seemed to be much quicker than the lanner falcons. Most of the park there's no cell phone reception, but if you're really desperate, you can buy a voucher, I think it's 75 Rand for 400 megabytes, and you can just send some WhatsApp messages or something just to let people know you're still around. These are the 8 or 9 lionesses and cubs that I'd passed on the road going north of Nossob earlier in the morning, and my wife saw them down at the waterhole a bit later. Keep an eye on the side of the road for tracks, animal tracks, and you can see where they've branched out maybe off the road and gone into the grass or the bush, and sometimes you can spot them not too far off. Last 2 nights we were booked in at Twee Rivieren, and after we had checked in there and put our luggage and everything down, we had then gone for a drive up to Rooiputs area, and as it was my wife's birthday the next night, we decided to book in at the Rooiputs Lodge to celebrate her birthday. The rooms are very nice, not bad, but a little bit disappointed. Food wasn't great, and there seemed to be lots of maintenance on the go. The waterhole wasn't ready, and the honeymoon bungalow wasn't ready, so yeah, could have lots of potential in that, and it also overcharged us, so fortunately we managed to rectify that before we had left the park. Between Rooiputs and Twee Rivieren, as you're going south, check on top of the dunes carefully, because we spotted lions there, and we also spotted this cheetah quite far, and if you've got the time and the patience, you can sit there and watch and wait and see, and eventually they'll come down to the riverbed, because I think they do most of their hunting and also coming down to the water there. The chalets on the boundary fence are sort of adjoining each other, and basically 4 beds, but that was the only accommodation we could get on the boundary fence. Very comfortable, completely adequate for your needs and that. We found out that there was a bird hide there as well, which unfortunately we didn't have time to investigate, because we had to do some washing before we continued on our journey, before we left the park. We were desperate to see meerkats, because usually you see them in the camps or around the camps and that. This time we didn't see any meerkats until the last hour. Basically we saw them just before Twee Rivieren, the sly old jackal trying to sort of walk past them without showing any interest, but they were clever to his tricks.